Put a one in the comments. Hello, LinkedIn, YouTube, IG, Facebook. How's everybody doing this morning? Good to see you. Perhaps it's the afternoon or maybe even the evening that I'm coming to you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever it might be. Welcome, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, IG. Glad to see everyone here. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I want to make sure that you can hear me, and we're all ready to go and to get started. So tell me what's been going on. Hey, here's the announcement. Let me just do this so that you all know what's happening here. 84 days. No, yes, 84 days until the end of the year. It's going to be right around the corner. Alberta, what you doing? It's love you. How's it going? Good to connect with you before the end of the year. We just have 84 days, so I'm so glad. It's so good to see you. Are you still with the bank, or have you moved on to even greater, wonderful things? Crystal, hey girl, how's it going? Good to see you. And welcome, Monique. Is that Monique the agent? And my baby doll, my daughter. How you doing, Monique? On TikTok. How's it going? So good to see you all. Listen, put a one in the comments if you can hear me. I want to know what's happening with you. Let me know what the weather's like wherever you are. Here in Detroit, it's continues to be unbelievable. The weather has just been, I think, fabulous. It's been almost a combination of summer and fall. Just beautiful. What does that mean about winter? I think it's going to be great winter too. Well, listen, we're going to talk today about a conversation, a subject that I often, I get a lot about, wondering whether, we're past our prime when we hit a certain age, or if we're too old to do something, or why don't you just go and retire? Now, I love retirement. Don't get it twisted here. But just because you're a certain age doesn't mean that one, you need to retire, or two, that retire is a decline state. See, that's the mindset that we have. You can do so much in retirement. In fact, it's a wonderful time to really leave a legacy, really leave your mark, and retirement can be fabulous. But society puts us in this box that talks about when you get a certain age, you passed your prime. Oh, that ain't true. And that's what I'm going to teach about today. I'm going to teach and inspire about that. Luckner and Zumander, how are you all doing? It's good to see you. Willow, welcome. I'm so glad to have TikTok back with us. And I want to let you all know that for some of you who I haven't had a chance to, hey, Audrey, how you doing? Well, I haven't had a chance to chat with or respond to some of the wonderful comments you've left me, but I went on a reset. September is always a tough month for me because it's the anniversary of my husband going into hospice and then passing. And so it's tough for me. It still is. And what I've done is I look at that September and try to reframe it, reset it, and use it as a time to reset because it's a few more months before the end of the year. And, we work so hard during them first 9 months. And so September, I think, can be a natural reset month. So I've been teaching and inspiring on how to reset, tips, tricks, strategies on that. Was doing so much, y'all, that I forgot to do it myself. So all of a sudden I realized, the way I've been feeling and all of this, hey, I need to do my own reset. So for the past week or so, that's what I've been doing. So I wasn't here with you on my regular Wednesday. I'm here every Wednesday, 9 o'clock. Oh, Mr. Wednesday, because of that. I took time out for myself and did some things that I needed to do, and then just relaxed and did nothing and looked at the water. Okay, because I can see the water from where I live. So reset, reset, reset. So if there are any of you out there who, dropped me a note or made some comments or wanted me to get back to you and I haven't, that's the reason. So just as long as you know that, I love it. Good to see you on uh, everything here. It's such a delight. Now, listen, here's the question. Have you ever asked yourself, am I too old to be here? And that's what we're going to explore today. That's what I'm going to teach about. And if you have comments or questions, please leave them in the chat. Also, let me know what the weather's like where you are or anything else that you'd like to share. But the lesson for today, what we're going to talk about is too old or are you right on time? And how to stay relevant when you hit your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So, am I too old to be here? That's the question that might be running through your mind when you walk into a room you really used to own, okay? And you walk into that room, but now nobody's looking at you anymore. When your idea gets passed over in that meeting and then gets brought up by someone younger 5 minutes later, like it's brand new. The world, society wants you to fade or follow, step back or stay silent. That relevance belongs to the younger generation now, that after 50, you're supposed to make room. But here's what I know. After decades of working with accomplished women, those who are high achieving, the question isn't whether you're too old. The question is whether you're going to let other people decide when your time is up. And so I'm going to tell you something that might surprise you. That doubt you're feeling right now about your age, that hesitation, maybe you're not sure if you should finally write that book or whether to pivot into the career you've always dreamed about. Maybe you're wondering if you should leave the job that's draining you or start something completely new. You're just not sure what to do next. Those feelings, you need to know that that's not weakness, that's awareness. You see what's happening. You really are beginning to feel the shift. And the women who feel it most are the ones who've already accomplished the most. Really. You've built careers, you've raised families, you've led teams, you've made things happen. So when that uncertainty shows up, you need to know it's not because you're losing relevance, it's because you become aware. You now know that there's still more in you, and you're not too sure how to pull it forward. Okay? So I want to talk about the truth of staying relevant after 50. First, let me tell you what's really happening out there. Okay? Now listen to this, nearly 80% of women over 50 have experienced age discrimination in their careers. If you've experienced it age bias or people looking at you or treating you differently because of your age, put a one in the chat. So, so it's if 80%, if the data is telling us that 80% of women have felt it, age, people looking at them funny because of the way their age is or that kind of age bias, that's not anecdotal, that's real. You are getting passed over for projects. You're hearing words like overqualified, which is just code for too old. You're watching younger people get opportunities you're more than ready for, been ready. And here's what makes it even harder. It's not just your age working against you, it's the intersection of age and gender. You've spent decades breaking glass ceilings, and now you're dealing with what some call the double whammy of discrimination, the age and your gender. Now, let me tell you something personal. When I was much younger, someone looked me straight in the eye and told me, you got three strikes against you. You're Black, you're a woman, and you're young. Now, I was stunned. And of course, I was in a job interview situation, and that probably wouldn't happen today, though. It shouldn't happen. It was stunning, but it taught me something I'll never forget. And that is this bias about who gets to be relevant. It doesn't wait until you're 50, and particularly if you're a woman. It shows up anytime you don't fit what people expect. So I learned early that staying relevant is a lot about reinventing, making changes that you have control over, making changes that you, in fact, can design. And I've done it more times than I can count. I moved from the East Coast to Detroit as a young woman, never expected to be in the Midwest. Built a family, raised three wonderful children. I've moved 11 times, worked my way through 8 different positions at the United Way, climbing to the top. And each promotion, each change meant reinventing who I was as a leader. Each move meant starting over in some way. Then again at 52, I made a major shift. And at 68, I did it again. And now in my mid 70s, here I am, still reinventing, still building, still leading. And we can do that, okay? Reinvention is something that happens just once. It's what you do when life demands more of you than who you were yesterday. So when women tell me they're worried about staying relevant, I get it. I've lived it. But I also know what works, and I know what keeps you stuck. So, what I want to do is give you 5 strategies that actually work. And you can take out your pen and pencil and paper, write it down. But I call these strategies my prime network, my prime framework. Because here's what I know: you're not past your prime, you're in your prime. And here's what being in your prime actually looks like: power, refresh, impact, multiply, energy. 5 words. That's it. So let me break it down for you in my prime framework. So if you're with me, if you're interested in hearing about this prime framework, put prime in the chat. PRIME, prime in the chat. Let me know that you're ready to hear about this framework and the strategies that will keep you relevant in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. So that P is about power. All right. Own your own wisdom. Let me say this again. Own your wisdom, not your age. Now, the usual advice says keep up with the younger generation or you'll be left behind. That's garbage. Chasing youth keeps you in scarcity mode, always trying to prove you belong. But here's what actually makes you relevant: perspective. You can see around corners because you've been around those corners before. It's not just about, well, I can see what's in front of me, I can see what's ahead. When you're in your 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, you've been through so much, you can see around corners. And 30-year-olds can't, okay? Because you know what works and what's just noise. I didn't need to prove I was young when I reinvented at 52 and again at 68. I needed to trust me, what I already knew. That's what made the difference. Relevance isn't about being the youngest in the room. It's about being the one who sees the whole chessboard. Okay? Now, R in the prime framework is refresh. And that's about staying curious, staying current. People think you need to know every new trend to stay relevant. Wrong. What keeps you relevant is staying curious, asking questions, being willing to say, I don't know that yet. Teach me. Curiosity is a muscle. You use it or you're going to lose it. When I launched my business after 4 decades in nonprofit leadership and late in life, I'm a late life entrepreneur in my 60s, late 60s. But when I launched it, I did not know anything about digital marketing, all this tech stuff. I didn't know anything really about LinkedIn. I mean, I knew LinkedIn was on LinkedIn, but I didn't know LinkedIn strategy. But I stayed curious, learning, wanting to learn. I asked questions. I learned. That's what really carried me through. And you know what? I told y'all we have about 84 days left till the end of the year. That's 12 weeks left this year. And that's 12 chances to ask better questions, being curious instead of staying stuck in what you already know. Okay? So if you're still with me, and does this make sense? Give me a yes in the comments if this is making sense to you. So the I in my prime framework is impact. Be visible, build your legacy. Okay. So many accomplished women keep working harder behind the scenes, hoping somebody notices. Let me tell you, here's the problem. Nobody's looking behind the scenes. It just doesn't happen. You hustle in the shadows while others are shining in the spotlight. Invisibility creeps in when you let busyness replace visibility. Okay? If this makes sense to you, say yes in the comments. Okay? So, being relevant means strategically choosing when and how to show up, not doing more. You see, you done past your do more. You've done really past your grinding stage. You've been there. You got the checklist on your to-do list. You've accomplished, you've built your career. But being relevant in your 50s, 60s, 70s is different. It's about being seen in the right moments. and also thinking about the legacy you're building with every move you've made. I've been in rooms, led rooms, where I was the only woman and the only Black leader. Staying visible was never about doing more work. It was about being strategic with where I showed up and how I used my voice. Impact isn't about how much you do. It's about the impact, the influence you make on others, who sees it, and what you're leaving behind, how you make a difference with others. Okay. So that's PRI. And now the M in my prime framework for staying relevant after 50. M is multiply. Build bridges across generations. So I want you to listen very carefully to this one, because the typical advice says network with your peers, but your real relevance grows when you build cross sector generational relationships. So I'm talking about mentor down, partner across, learn up. Okay. So, you're going to do it in at different levels and cross generations. The most relevant leaders that I know are those who build bridges, not stay in silos. They connect generations. They translate across age gaps. They bring different perspectives into the same room. That's power. And that's how you multiply your influence, no matter what age you are. Does that make sense? Let me know in the comments. Give me a yes if that makes sense, and how important it is to cross ages, cross generations, bring different kinds of thinking with you and around you. And also, the other thing about it is we don't need to practice the age bias that others put on us. So when we get into our 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond, we need to take that higher level leadership position of saying, all come and embrace others across the ages and gender and the whole bit, okay? Because we serve as role models in this stage of life. And so prime, PRIM, got to have an E. And the E is so important to staying relevant. And the E is energy. And so you want to lead with your presence, your energy, not with your age. Because, see, culture says age signals decline, but people don't read birth certificates. They read energy. Okay? You want me to say that again? Does that make sense? If you get that, I want you to let me know. People don't stand there and read your birth certificate. They read how you show up. Okay. That energy. They feel whether you're engaged or checked out, whether you're present or you're just going through the motions. So staying relevant means cultivating vitality, taking care of yourself, having a purpose that pulls you forward and is energizing, finding joy in what you do, showing, showing up with that presence that fills the room even before you open your mouth. Energy is the real strategy, not anti aging cream, not trying to look like you 30. Energy and joy that say, I'm here and I matter. Okay? So, prime. Here's what happens when you don't have this framework. Now, you keep drifting. You design or decline, move or fade. Another month goes by where you stay invisible. Another opportunity passes you by because you didn't speak up. You get to January, 84 days away, wondering why nothing has changed. Okay? But I want you to picture this. You walk into that room in January and you own it. You're leading with power because you stopped apologizing for what you know. You're refreshed because you stayed curious instead of stuck. You're making impact because people see you and they remember what you stand for. You've multiplied your influence because you built bridges instead of staying over in your corner. And your energy, it walks in before you do. That's prime. That's what being in your prime looks like. And here's the truth: every week you wait, you risk watching another year slip by where you stayed small instead of stepping up. Mhm. So, I just want to tell you, if you tired of wondering what's next, or you're uncertain about, how you move forward, you might have a lifelong dream like I did about owning my own business, and you're just not sure if you should start it now, what happens in 2026, if you're looking to make that career pivot but not too sure of the steps, or maybe you're just not sure of what your purpose is now. And that's okay, because rediscovering, finding that purpose, making sure that you're clear on your purpose, that's a renewal thing. You can do that. And so much great time is here before us, because we're winding down one year and we're getting ready to go into a new year like a fresh start. But if you're confused or uncertain or want some help in those next steps, there's ways that I can work with you. You can book a call with me, a next steps call, and we'll talk about where you are and where you want to be. And I'll let you know if the 2026 launch blueprint that I have for you is the right move for you right here, right now. And if you're interested in planning for 2026 and walking into 2026 with a game plan, with steps that you can take in your first 90 days, with identifying the resources that you'll need to finally write that book, make that career pivot, discover your purpose. That's what you'll get in this 2026 launch blueprint that I have for you. And if you're interested in that, but you're not too sure, join the wait list. There's a link here, there's a QR code somewhere where you can just sign up. Of course, you just sign up, it's free, and you'll be one of the first to know when enrollment opens for this opportunity that I provide every year around this time, because we're 84 days away from the end of the year, and it's just some perfect timing to get ready for 2026. And I just want to remind you, you are not too old. You're not too late. You're right on time. And so let's design what's next together. So that concludes my lesson for today and the teachings. What I hope you all found this helpful. So I know we just have a few moments left, but I'm going to take some questions and look at your comments. I see we have a question from Luvella on LinkedIn. She shifted a couple times in life so far. She'll be 51 this year. Congratulations. Hey, oh, Truvella, my girl, how you doing? Good to see you. And faced many issues from folks external from a core family group. How did you combat the people closest to you that seemed to be the real issue to you when you wanted to shift? Ah, yes. Well, first of all, Truvella, let me just say that um, sometimes when we want to move forward, we can't take everybody with us. And that's a reality that we do have to face. But I want you to know it's very natural. The vision you might have in your head, the mental picture that you see, the things that you think about that bring you joy inside and you really want to do, they are inside your head and your head alone. And oftentimes, other people can't see that. So they can't see it, they don't understand it, they're not sure about it. And they may feel that if you go do that thing, that they'll lose you or lose connection with you and things won't still be the same. So those are natural, normal emotions. And the first thing I always say is to understand that and treat yourself and those people closest to you with grace to understand it. But then, secondly, you got to do you because you don't want to be 5 years from now with your dream done slip by and you say, you regret and you let it slip by because of what people said or how they supported you or how they didn't support you. And so it's the thing about thinking, okay, here's how I feel right now. It bothers me and all that, but if I think of myself 3 5 years from now, how am I going to feel? What will I regret more? Okay. And then, like I said in the beginning, sometimes you can't take everybody with you on your journey. One of the things that we do in my 2026 blueprint, and I see we got a question of, well, what is the blueprint? It's a let me just finish this with Truvella. But one of the things that we do is as you're developing your game plan for 2026, the actual concrete steps that you're going to use over a 90-day period to realize whatever your dream is, one of the things that we look at and focus on are resources, which includes the kind of support you'll need. So we actually talk about the people who will be with you and the people who perhaps won't support you and ways to navigate through that. So, because that's a very real thing and something that, and through my years of working and developing these personal action plans and game plans for how to move forward, how to create change, you have to really honestly assess your resources, who's with you, who's not, and then figure out the ways to still move forward. So that's one of the things that we will cover, and you'll become an expert in doing that. And so I got the question. I know we just have a few minutes to go, but I did get the question of what is the blueprint that I made reference to, and that you can get on the wait list for. I'll be opening up the doors to that in a few weeks. But it's where you can get your 90-day game plan for 2026, where you can go from foggy and not too sure what you're going to do to real clarity and confidence in how you step into 2026. So you'll actually have the opportunity to develop your goals, to craft that vision, to put together an action plan with concrete steps for your next moves. And you'll do that in a group setting with other women who are figuring out the same thing. And so one of the things that I wanted to do this time, this is a program that I've usually offer one-to-one. And I've done that one-to-one. This year, I decided to do a group because I've heard from so many women that part of the process of figuring out our next steps and where we want to go, having that support of others, a community of like-minded women, is a real asset, a plus. Not only because you begin to see that, some of your struggles, everybody got them struggles and you're not alone, but also it builds in accountability. And so I'm there with you every step of the way. So that's what the blueprint is. And the format is in a group program. It'll start in December. Of only 4 times will we get together, but in between there'll be lots of interaction, and you will have access to me and my resource library. And I haven't developed it fully, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to put it in. I just got a couple of queries from folk who want to learn more about how technology and AI can help them with their game plan and what they want to do for 2026. And as you know, I have become a student of technology and AI. And so I'm thinking about putting that in for this community of women who will move forward with their game plan and won't get left behind, but really will start January with it going on. So that's what the blueprint is. I hope you'll sign up for the wait list. Just there's a link. And we do have to, we look at the questions. We have so many great questions. But listen, someone's asking, everyone stays current, but I feel like I'm drowning in tech changes. How do I catch up without feeling stupid? That is the question I'm consistently getting now. And I'm going to put that into my 2026 launch blueprint program that's going to start in December, so that you'll be, ready for Q1 in January. And it'll be more than just resolutions, because resolutions, I love them. I do my resolutions. I resolve to do this, but by February, March, that's kind of floated out because you ain't got a game plan. You don't have goals. You haven't analyzed your resources. You don't have a step-by-step plan for what you're going to do with a resolution. And so I'm going to be putting how you can use tech to help you. But I don't want you to feel that you're stupid, because you ain't, because we all struggling trying to learn the same old things. And when you come in my launch blueprint, we'll be in a community, a supportive community of like-minded folk. And so it's a great place to learn if you're a little hesitant about what tech and AI can do and what it is. Okay, I'm going to have to wind down. I have a client call that's coming in about 3 minutes. And that's one of the things that I do. I do coach one-on-one, and I've got that. So I've got to run, but I want to say good morning to Dr. Trin from Dallas. And thank you so much for being here. And Chris, Hey, how you doing? Good morning to you. Um, yes, those three strikes, feminine guru. How you doing? Prime, yes, prime time. Maury, how you doing? Maury Sims, good to see you from LinkedIn. Thank you for joining. And again, good morning to you, Truvella, and thank you for that question and comment. Really appreciate that. And to all my friends on Extraordinary Women Influencers on Facebook, Alberta, Crystal, all of you, and those who have joined on TikTok and IG. I'm so glad that you're with us today. Listen, I'm going to say goodbye to you. 84 days left till the end of the year, and sign up for the wait list for the blueprint. You're going to want to do this, and we'll do it together. We'll create that blueprint for you if you want to find out your purpose, if you want to figure out how to stop staying invisible. All that we'll be able to do. Hope to see you. Love you all. See you next Wednesday at 9. Wednesday we on? No, I think it's not next Wednesday, but 2 weeks from today. What is that? Is that right, Karina? I think it's the 22nd, because next Wednesday is the Wednesday after a holiday, and I don't do a live then. But I'll be back. You'll be seeing me all over like you usually do. Mwah. Love you. See you next time.